What level of conversational do I mean by fluency? So, and this is an interesting question because everyone always has different definitions for things. And so it's very important that we all agree on like what I mean when I use a certain term so that, so there's no confusion. I'll just do this. So when I say conversational fluency, or when I just say fluency in general, I'm almost always referring to just conversational fluency. And when I say conversational, I'm referring to being able to have a conversation with a native with a flow. Now, like the requirement for fluency is that there's flow, there's fluidity, right? The word, that's ingrained in the word fluency, right? In Spanish, to be fluent is to speak with fluidez, with fluency or fluidity, right? Or in Swedish, it's to know something, which is to know it fluently, like with flow, with flut. And so to know something with flut or to know something fluently, basically, it means there has to be flow. And so the reason why I put the conversational there is because the flow is in the conversation in conversational fluency, meaning you don't necessarily have to speak super fast with no mistakes, no pauses, but rather the conversation has a flow, meaning a conversation is a back and forth. As long as that back and forth is happening, you're having a conversation, there's flow, that's fluency to the level of conversational. Now, I also like to separate it to native level fluency, where you also sound exactly like a native and you're indistinguishable from a native. That is also the important thing is to understand that the discrepancy between conversational fluency and native level fluency is so massive that understanding and defining these terms separately is helpful, or at least helpful enough for us learners who want to reach that conversational level. And the interesting thing is, unlike the system where A1, A1, A2, B1, B2, etc. Conversational fluency is around about B1, B2. That's where that's where most people are conversational. And so when I say conversational fluency, I'm talking about a conversation. I'm talking about flow in the conversation. So someone like Harry Styles, who, if you've heard him speak, he speaks very slowly, very mellow, very, not very fluently, but you'd still call him fluent because he can obviously have the back and forth fluently. And also accent and stuff, right? So fluency doesn't mean fast or, fluency doesn't mean you speak fast or you speak perfectly. It means that there's flow in the conversation, according to me. And if you're able to speak and create sentences coherently in flow, some people might consider that fluency. To me, that's sort of a luxury, closer to native fluency, where you're able to just spew out a bunch of words. But not being able to do that doesn't necessarily make you not fluent.